hopefully I'm not going to take very long with what I've got to say. Everyone's going, yay. Okay, I want to read out something from the Bible, then I'm going to ask a few questions. Here it is. Matthew 16 says, when Jesus arrived in the villages of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, what are people saying about who the Son of Man is? Or, in a more posh translation, who do they say I am? They replied, some think he is John the Baptizer. Some say Elijah. Some say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. He pressed them. How about you? Who do you say I am? Who do you say I am? Simon Peter said, you're the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Jesus came back. God bless you, Simon, son of Jonah. You didn't get that answer out of the books or from teachers. My Father in heaven, God himself, let you in on this secret of who I really am. And now I'm going to tell you who you are. You really are. You are Peter, a rock. This is the rock on which I will put together my church, a church so expansive with energy that not even the gates of hell will be able to keep it out. And that's not all. You'll have complete and free access to God's kingdom. Keys to open any and every door. No more barriers between heaven and earth and heaven. A yes on earth is a yes in heaven. A no on earth is a no in heaven. He swore the disciples to secrecy. And this is the bit that confuses me a little bit. He made them promise they would tell no one that he was the Messiah. I'm not going to focus on that bit, even though that bit is a bit confusing, that Jesus would go around going, hey, I am, but don't tell anyone. Right? I wonder if he did that so people would. Well, like it's written in there. Well, yes, but at the time, because the Bible wasn't there when they were doing it. It was written later. Anyway, right. So, Jesus is many different things depending on your perspective. I can still see you talking. I know, right? Anyway, he is. So different religions actually have views on who Jesus is. I'm going to tell you something because I find them quite fascinating. In Islam, he's just a prophet. In fact, they still call him Messiah, which is a very strange thing, but they don't think he's the Son of God. The Latter-day Saints, which sometimes are called Mormons, think he's just like another God. Just another one. Not actually God like Jesus said he was, but he's another God. In fact, the Mormons go as far as to say that he used to be a man who worked up to be God. He actually did lots of good things and was granted godhood. Okay? The JWs don't really call him God either. In fact, they call him the brother of Satan. Yeah, that's proper weird, isn't it, right? The Baha'i, I have no idea, right? Before you ask, I have no idea who the Baha'i are. But they already think that Jesus has returned as another bloke. And that Jesus is just almost like a reincarnation of God that comes back every now and again to get everyone on track. There's a Vietnamese religion that actually think he's part of a pantheon. So have you learnt about Roman or Greek gods? Or from Percy Jackson, right? We've learnt, we had a conversation about that earlier, right? There's lots of different gods for different things, right? So Zeus has got lightning bolts and I can't remember. I remember Hestia is the god of the hearth or the goddess of the hearth and home. Oh, isn't that nice? She makes meals for people and all that rubbish. But they think that Jesus is part of just this pantheon of other gods, right? Some people say, I can't remember which religion this was, but actually that he survived the cross. He didn't just die on the cross, he just survived it. And then he went off to India and died under the name of Yuz Asaf. Okay, right? The Jews just think he's a great teacher, but they actually think all the Messiah stuff was kind of wrong. Our Bible is actually discussed in greater Jewish works that were written a long time ago called the Talmud and the Gemara, right? These things actually have mentions of the New Testament and Jesus, but they kind of say, look, he was wrong about the Messiah stuff. He wasn't actually God. Some say that he was the greatest man that ever lived, but they don't say he was God. Some people, and this is realistically either very ignorant people or and they are a small minority, say that Jesus didn't exist at all. Right? Even if you don't think he's God, there's a horrendous amount of evidence outside of the Bible that Jesus was real. And then there's the people who use his name as a swear word, and that they synonymously use that to say that something is bad, that they cry it out, but not in exclamation of how good God is, but how bad something is, or shocking. These are different things that different people see. And obviously in Jesus' day, Jesus was walking around. He would have been recognized as a rabbi. He would have been recognized as a rabbi, but this story is really interesting to me because I kind of get this image in my head of when you say, well, who do you think I am? And Peter is kind of going, do you know what? I reckon you're God. That's really fascinating. That's how I see it. I don't think it's like, sometimes we read the Bible and it can be it's quite blank, isn't it? We don't know the emotions. That's why it's quite cool. I say quite cool. Who prefers films over books? Oh, I'm impressed. But it's mostly the guys who are saying yes to the films over books. That was quite interesting. Okay, but with a book, sometimes you can't get the full emotion, can you? And if any of you have any interest in drama, I used to quite enjoy Shakespeare, actually. I still don't think I still think he's overrated. Right? Don't get me wrong, he's still overrated, but there's lots of different ways of interpreting stuff. So, for example, in Macbeth, the first, I think is it scene 3? This is going to make me sound like really clever, right? Scene 3, Act 1, is Macbeth musing over whether he's going to kill the king. And he has that line, it's, if it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. That's the opening line of scene 3. And you can do that in many different ways, can't you? So you can kind of think, is he scared about the idea? Is he excited about the idea? It's all about interpretation. Sometimes with the Bible, we just got the words and we've got to go, okay, what's the emotion in this moment? What's going on in this moment? And Peter is going, I've had a revelation of who Jesus is. I can see who Jesus is. The story is a good precedent for us being asked the same question. Who do you say Jesus is? It's rhetorical, don't worry, I'm not expecting an answer. Is he God? Is Jesus God? Is Jesus the living God who died on the cross to take away your sin, came back in 3 days, and is now reigning on high in heaven, praying for you every day? That's what the Bible says. And he has taken your sin. Is he God? Is he? Do you really think he is God? So here's an interesting question that I want you to ponder and be challenged by. If he is God, would a deaf person look at your life and see Jesus being God in your life day to day? Now that sounds a bit random, doesn't it? It does sound a bit random. But sometimes we can be people who we are talkers, and it's really easy to be a Christian when you're quiet and in church. It's really easy to do it. It's really easy to be a loud Christian when you're with other loud Christians, like at summer camps and all that kind of stuff. It's really easy to do that. But what if you're on your own? What if you're with a bunch of mates that don't know Jesus? Is he still God then? Are you still saying that's who he is? There's I mentioned it before. There was a band called DC Talk that were around 20 years ago. Have an album out called Jesus Freaks. I've read from the book before. But there's one of the songs on the album which I think is "What If I Stumble," which is a great song, all about what if I make a mistake? Am I still loved by God? And obviously the answer is yes. But it starts off with a quote, and I couldn't find who the quote is from, but it sounds like an old bloke. But I think this is a song that is 27 years old. But this quote, I still think, probably applies to us. The single greatest cause of atheism in the world today is Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips, then walk out the door and deny him by their lifestyles. That is what an unbelieving world simply finds unbelievable. That's quite challenging. That's really challenging. Does that mean, then, that you're with a group of your mates who don't know Jesus, and you swear, and it's all ruined? Oh my goodness, you've said a B or an S. I don't know what those words are, I just know the first letter clearly, right? But what does that mean? It's all ruined? Is it all fallen down? Of course not. Because Jesus doesn't kind of go, well, fine, you're not in the club now. It doesn't work that way, right? Don't worry about that. But are we aiming to make Jesus God? Now, that sounds a bit weird, right? But this is it. Who do you say he is? What is your response? What if Jesus was to ask you tonight, who do you say I am? What would you reply? What would be your reply? Would you go, I think you're all right, but I don't think you're God? Or would you go, yes, Lord, I think you're God, and then act like he's not? This is all about our eyes being open to who he is. Oddly enough, and this is totally by the by, we're starting our Sunday thing on Sunday, going out on Sundays. And what we're talking about on Sunday links into this, but was completely, as I say, wasn't in the plan at all, because I got given the scriptures of what we're going to do out there. So there's a bit of a link kind of going on. But what do we say? When Jesus is there, Jesus is here now, actually. And he's actually asking you the question in this moment, who do you say that I am? Has he revealed himself to you? If you are kind of going, I get it, but actually I'm not there yet, then that's the great place to be, actually. I'll tell you why. Because this is the moment that Jesus could reveal himself to you.